In a hole in the ground, there lived a hobbit. Not a nasty, dirty, wet hole filled with the end of worms and an oozy smell, nor yet a dry, bare, sandy hole with nothing in it to sit down on or to eat. It was a hobbit hole, and that means comfort. Today on the board, boys, the Hobbit, there and back again. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Board Boys Podcast, Season 17, Episode 10, live from BGGCon 2025. Today on the podcast, we're doing The Hobbit, there and back again. This is your board boy, Second Breakfast Rob.
This is your board boy. I tried to remember the names of all the dwarves, but can't, Ben.
This is not the board boy. I've been there and now I'm back again, Logan.
This is your board boy, Jeremy.
All right, guys. It is Saturday of BGGCon. Is anybody tired?
I'm tired.
Just a little bit.
It's gonna be a double Celsius day. I can already tell.
Am
time
I
to juice
awake is the question.
Right?
I took some of your pre-workout powder and just stuffed it right in my mouth this morning.
You just
That
snorted
explains
it?
Yep.
everything.
Just right in.
You got to do lines of that in the morning. That's how you get through the con, is all I'm saying.
Rob coming in with the strats.
All right, well, you got a new voice on the podcast, Ben. I've known Ben for years. Been gaming with him for a long time. Ben, this is your first BGGCon. What do you think?
This is actually my second BGG
Oh, that's
con.
right. You came with me years and years ago. Okay, this is your first in your kind of like rebirth into the board game scene, I guess, because you've kind of gotten back into board games like pretty big in the last year, right?
Yeah, that's about right. Around Thanksgiving time, a little after last year, I really got back into things. I've been having a blast. I've played dozens of games, probably too many.
That's not a thing.
I have not slept enough. I have only eaten one real meal since Monday, but I've been having a really great time. I met loads of cool people. We played many fantastic new games and a few old ones that were also great. And this has been the best time of the year so far for me.
Perfect. I do just want to give a little throwback. We just played Echoes of Time from Cranio Creations. And I'd like to ask Jeremy, are you good at slide puzzles?
You know, that was the hardest part about that game, getting it set up. You know, these guys were just laughing at me, and I was trying to set it
Still
up.
laughing at you.
And, you know, I eventually got it, and I almost got first place by half points.
Yeah, let's talk about this game just real quick, because last year we reviewed Mesos from Cranio Creations. It was another card game. This one's a little different. It has a player board on it. Everyone's got their own player board with like these little slidey cardboard things where you play cards on them, and then you insert the slot. I'm trying to think of other games where you slide things and they fall off on the side. That game about books does it. The University, we've reviewed it. Man,
I don't know.
my brain is definitely con on the Saturday brain right now.
Yes.
Alma Mater.
Alma Mater, thank you.
Whoa.
Alma Mater, you do that with a thing. You have to set your board up in a certain way, and the picture of the tiles definitely matches the picture of the board. I didn't realize it because I set it up by looking at the rule book, but Jeremy was just trying to set it up.
Yes.
Being really
yes,
tired.
But Ben struggled too, so it
I
wasn't.
was just trying
it
to
wasn't
copy
just
somebody
me.
else's board
That's
while
true.
Logan was laughing at me the whole time for
Meanwhile,
doing it wrong.
The uneducated Cajun here is just laughing because I'm the only one who picked up on it.
Yeah, so ultimately, it plays pretty quick. We probably played it in like half an hour or so. And you're basically playing the cards when they fall off your board. They become part of your fellowship. They combo and
Not
do
of
things.
the ring.
That's true. That's a good tie-in. They have like little abilities they can trigger based on like the tile that's not on your board. And you use their power to take over these central areas and then fortify them. And I would guess that's usually how the game's going to end when all four of those get fortified. Or it can end if somebody takes all the point tokens out of the middle. That'll trigger the end of the game. Or if somebody has a giant 12-person fellowship. And then you just add up all those points, and that's the game. I'm kind of curious, Jeremy, you played we also played Etherstone, which was a card game also by Simone Luciani. Which one of those are you feeling more? We re-racked Etherstone, which doesn't happen very often, and we played that one twice in a row. And I don't usually like card games like this at all, but I enjoyed both of these.
I enjoyed both of them. I liked them for different reasons. I think I like Etherstone more because I liked building your deck at the beginning. It was fun to kind of you pass the cards around the table and you draft a hand, and that's going to be your deck for the whole game. And so you're kind of making a lot of fun decisions right at the beginning. You don't even know what all the cards are out there, so you don't know what kind of combos you're going to build. So as they kind of pass, you're kind of like, okay, what kind of combo can I build that might come back to me, but maybe it won't. And I think it's interesting how even when you maybe don't get a hand that you think is going to do great, you can kind of wiggle and worm your way into some kind of combo that actually does okay.
Yeah, so Etherstone, you start off with the draft, you get 7 cards, that's your hand for the whole game. And then you're basically doing things to play the cards, but you also have a leader that has hit points. And every time that you can kill somebody else's leader, they have to spend a turn to like revive themselves and take a token that's -7 points. And so that game is also mean because there's a lot of interaction, but like the game is similar to Res Arcana where you're drafting those cards and trying to make the best kind of combos you can. But that game really comes to an end too pretty fast because you're basically taking the point tokens out of the middle. It's like when somebody plays their last card, that's when the game ends, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems like there's a lot of replayability there. I'm excited. Like they're both games that play in like 30 minutes.
They both had good art too, but for different reasons.
Yeah,
They're very different.
So I think they're both like pretty good, nice little chunky filler card games, which I probably don't play enough of. So
the second one we played, I felt like more like a tableau builder. You're kind of building up. There was more of a tableau vibe than I got than Etherstone. And it was an Echoes of Time. And it was fun. I really like the dual timing aspect. Like you're timing when the cards come out, but then it's also timing when abilities will fire. And so trying to manipulate that track of time, I think would be a fun thing. Like I had a card that would have manipulated my track of time and I discarded it to play a card. And later I really wished I had it because I really wanted to kind of push my time track one further.
Yeah, I mean, Ben and I had different strategies in Echoes of Time. Like I was just like, okay, we need to get to the podcast. I'm going to attack these middle things and just take them all fast. And he kind of had built like a tableau and started comboing off. And I like the fact that you can kind of do either one of those and do it. And like our scores were very close.
Yeah, I leaned real hard into the first card I played in the game, which just had 2 passive effects. And I just played every card I could that applied to those effects. And it worked out. So it seemed like a pretty good game.
And I played by myself.
That's true. You were there.
I was there.
But you were the lord of the underworld.
Was I? Yes.
You had so many moles. I think, Logan, why don't you hit us first? We're going to just talk about our top 3 games.
Sure. Well,
from
first, can I
BGGCon.
introduce myself? Because this is my first time on the show.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm a poor host. Logan, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm Logan. I'm from Louisiana. I'm a acquaintance of the guys via BJ from Board Game Gumbo. You may have seen me on his streams every now and again.
R.I.P. BJ's back.
Yeah.
Because he's not here.
BJ backed out.
Yeah, literally.
But anyway, no, this is my second con. Ton of fun. Definitely a little bit different vibe because PAX U is happening roughly around the same time. So the crowd's a little different this year, but
yeah, I'd say so. I feel like it's a little different and a little maybe less.
I would say the marketplace and like the brand representation's a little bit less, but
yeah,
you know, I mean, the hot games are the hot games, and you know, their titles are here, and some of the other social media influencers and stuff. There's not as many of them here, but I got to talk to Mike from the Brothers Murph a little bit yesterday. And
I mean, all the cool guys are here.
I mean, I'm here, so
right?
The party's here.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, I'll say games that stood out to me, honestly, right now aren't even available in this country is the problem, right? Ants is probably number 1 for me right now.
Okay.
With Orloj right behind it. Yeah.
Okay.
This was the top 2. And then
which ant game? There's 2 ant games, right?
Well, it's Ants, but they should have named it Ants of Wistar.
Okay. The new one.
And then
that new ant.
And then honestly, number 3 is probably going to be Aquaria, which is not out here yet either.
Okay, except for you think it might be at your house. I'm not sure if when Capstone's
my wife has
actually
not
bring
opened
those
said box from Capstone.
Come on, wife.
So
inquiring minds wish to know.
No, she's using it as leverage because my kids think it's a Christmas present for them.
Oh,
so she's like, you've got to behave now. Dad's not here, and
that's a good trick. We get Amazon boxes like every day.
Yeah. I manipulate the heck out of my kids. It's how I parent.
All right, let's talk about those a little bit because I think we've all played all of them.
I missed out on Aquaria, but I've got the other 2.
Okay, so
you and I played. Have you played Aquaria, Jeremy?
I have not played Aquaria, and I have not played Ants of Wistar.
So Aquaria is the new game from Thomas Hollick. It's from Delicious Games, Capstone in the U.S.
Yep.
I literally...
If you don't know, Thomas Hollick is the guy who's most famously for SETI right now.
Yeah, and I wanted to play this based on that and the company because I like Delicious Games stuff. And I like that designer. I had zero idea what the game was about except for putting fish in aquariums. And the cover art is a choice. I actually kind of like it.
I like it.
It's kind of like got that retro vibe to it. So basically in Aquaria, it is a worker placement game with a dice that has to move to a different spot on the board. If you move to an adjacent spot, you get an extra bonus. And the main actions are basically moving around on a Darwin's Journey type board.
Yep.
That's what I called it.
It's technically a coral, but it looks very much like the ship map on Darwin's Journey.
Yep. There's one of those. There's like another little track you can go up for bonuses. There's a aquarium
filter that triggers.
Yeah, there's an aquarium filter that you can get stuff.
It's an income, essentially.
Yep. And then there's a main board where you just put your fish, and depending on how you put the fish
board,
in there.
Right, your tableau.
Yeah. And you can play fish onto it. That's kind of the big stuff. Then there's like these little knobs on your board that it's kind of like adjusting the settings of your tank to the right
exactly.
area.
I used to have a saltwater fish tank, and it's adjusting all of your little additives, and so like auto feeders or whatever. So it helps produce food on income, stuff like that. But yes,
I will say round 1 I was underwhelmed.
Yeah,
and then round 2 on I was like, this game.
Yeah, you
slaps.
saw the Matrix, right? And
yeah,
then
I was
started putting things together.
It started pumping up. So it was deceptively like simple to learn. Like it was not a hard, like we learned it right out of the rule book and played it pretty quick.
Yeah.
So this is not like a super heavy, complex, hard to understand thing.
And the rule book medium, right? Yeah.
And the rule book was pretty easy to get through. I know, but like there's a difference between sitting down and doing this and like, I'm trying to think of a game we struggled getting through. Like even Ants wasn't that bad, but like a game like Speakeasy. Well, there was different reasons for that, right?
Right.
Anyway, a high recommend for me, I would say Aquaria is sitting after one play, maybe like a 2.5 boinger for me.
That's fair. I would agree.
Ants, if you played Rats of Wistar, you reviewed, you know the card system. Otherwise, you're kind of going around on the board, exploring, fighting guys. What else are you doing?
It's got a little bit of an area control aspect to it.
Plus like a route building thing.
But you still have your player board, kind of a la Rats of Wistar, where you have to develop your board to be able to house things and do things.
Yeah, and the player board is also cool, just like Rats.
Yeah. Ben can chime in on this one because now he's played both of them.
Yeah, the game has more DNA with Rats of Wistar than I thought it was going to have, actually.
Y'all took a refresher and played Rats after we played Ants,
Yeah, I'm curious which one would you play if you had one?
I would say Ants is probably sitting around a 2.5 for me, too. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked the card play in Ants, and I enjoyed the game enough that I checked out Rats from the library and made Rob and Jeremy play that with me a little later in the day. The card play was pretty reminiscent of Terraforming Mars with the tags matter. You know, there's instant effects, ongoing effects, passive effects. The card play was really fun. I really liked the player board quite a bit. There's lots of upgrades there. You have 3 different types of ants that go through stages of their life, you know, eggs and then larvae and then ants. There's a lot of cool manipulation with promoting ants so you don't have to feed them. There's a mechanic where you have to feed them or you lose them. As Logan mentioned, there's a pretty fun area majority thing out on the board, as well as kind of a timing game where if you set things up in the right time or you explore a space when you already have stuff on it, you get to take all the stuff and you get a bonus. There's lots of little strategic elements to the game that I think are really clever, and I had a really good time playing it.
So now that you've played both, one time each, within the past 48 hours, which one's better?
If I had to pick right now, I would probably say Ants, but I'd like to give them both another play before I said that for sure.
What about you,
I agree. I like Ants better.
I think, I don't know.
Right.
Like they're fairly
both
similar
good.
to me. Like they're both good. I actually had zero interest in Ants, really.
Yeah.
Off the bat, I don't know why. Just because I think last year I was a little underwhelmed with Cranio's offerings in general. Like I liked Mesos, but like I pre-ordered and got all their stuff last year because I love Cranio Creations games, and they kind of missed for me. So this year I didn't do any of their stuff.
Yep.
And I've liked both of their games this year.
Yep.
So, you know, sometimes I got to just realize I don't need to be on the bleeding edge all the time.
Yeah, and look, the reason I give Ants the nudge over Rats is personally for me, I don't like the action selection of Rats of Wistar, that little rondel, I guess you want to call it, whatever it is.
I love the combo-y nature of that. So.
Yeah, and it's, I don't know.
Or
I've just had bad experiences with it, so maybe it's just that.
Yeah.
I've
you can get locked out.
Yeah, exactly. And whereas
especially
Ants,
when you're last.
Felt like and look, even though Rob was trying to corner me into the right side of the board whenever playing Ants, I still got to manage to do everything I needed to do. So it didn't feel as restrictive in that, aspect.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's a lot of player interaction in both of those games, but in Rats, the player interaction is largely in that action selection. Whereas in Ants, it's more in the actual map part of the board because you can block each other's paths. There's monsters that spawn, but only one person gets to fight the monsters, so there's timing elements there. So they kind of moved where the interaction is. It's a different
so
experience.
I would say like Rats, the interaction is I can stop you from being able to do an action you want to do, whereas Ants, I can make the action you want to do less effective, but you still get to do that.
But ultimately, the verdict for you, Ben, is you're going to probably own both of these games.
Most likely.
There's a pretty good chance.
Because you just already asked me to get in on my late pledge of the Rats of Wistar expansion. And if you like Ants better, I'm just guessing.
Yeah.
Chances are high.
Okay. The last one you talked about was Orloj?
Yeah.
All right, well, we're going to probably definitely do a review on this.
No, yeah,
it's fine. Let's hit a high overview because we've all played Orloj. And I think that's high on all of our lists.
Yeah, it's amazing.
For me, it was on my radar because it looked pretty, and I really liked Paraloco's games from last year, which is Phoenix New Horizon,
which I got to play for the first time the day I got here. So that was also a great game.
So, like, both of these are going to be brought here by Devere. Who knows when Orloj is going to make it over?
Yeah,
but they put a lot of game in these small boxes,
dude. I was a little worried sitting down because the game is gorgeous. Orloj is absolutely gorgeous, but I was a little worried because the iconography kind of blended in with the art of the board.
Yes.
And I was like, man, I'm not gonna be able to see. I'm an Ian O'Toole fan. I want clear setup. And Devere is really good for that. So I was a little worried, but man, that game, I was worried because it's all the spinning actions and the gears, and I was like, oh, is this gonna be hard to assume what I can and can't do? It was very natural. It was very quick, and I like to pick up, and I need it in this country.
Yeah, it's the game just stuck in my craw, like how to play it. It's not a hard teach. And if you listen to this podcast, when we talk about stuff like this, yes, the game is complex.
Yes, it is definitely a hard
You're
game.
not playing this with grandma. Well, maybe you are. But I'm not
You
playing this with my grandma.
Same.
But if you are a gamer that likes medium to heavy Euros, you're going to love this game. And it's not going to be a hard game to learn.
No, but once you see, like I use the word see the major, once you understand how to win the game, it will become crunchier and heavier, right?
And I'm curious on the longevity of how much I would like to play it. But once again, never play a game enough for that to really matter. For me personally,
yeah,
that is important for a lot of people that own less games and play the same thing over and over again. There is a high level of variability in setup and scoring, I think. So I think that's
same thing with Aquaria. If we want to jump back to that a little bit, like that game was highly modular and variable, and things can change. So, like expansions and things in the future, I think it's replayable too. But yeah, I totally agree with Orloj.
Yeah, I've played Orloj 3 times now and had a fantastic time every play. The scores were wildly different because the game is also variable game length.
Yes.
There are multiple ways to end the game, and the game we played just a couple of days ago, we ended it very fast, and the scores were really low, but it was still really fun. So I've played it at different player counts, and it's been fun every time. I can't recommend it enough for fans of heavy Euros, mid to heavy.
Yeah. All right, well, let's continue. Let's let our other guesty guest go next. Ben, how about you?
Logan's already hit a couple of my favorites of the con so far in Orloj, and I really enjoyed Ants. And I would say the third for me is definitely Recall. Recall being the spiritual successor to Revive. There is definitely some Revive DNA in Recall, but Recall basically made the player board a little less complex, but made the board a little more interesting. You still have the 4X explore and build mechanics, but it's a little less mean because you're not blocking each other nearly as much out on the board. It has a really satisfying aspect on the player board of you have these little keys that you slot in to perform your actions, and you can upgrade the keys to put actions on the keys themselves in addition to your action slots, and you can upgrade your action slots. And I found that to be really satisfying, just picking what to put where at what time. Lots of really big combo-filled actions that were really fun. And every player at the table took some pretty wild turns where we did 9 or 10 things in a row. Had a really fun time playing it, and we still knocked it out learning it from the rulebook in under 3 hours. So I had a pretty good time with that one.
Yeah, it has a lot of DNA from Revive, and I think there is some streamlining in there. I read somebody posted this morning about how he thinks it just murders Revive for him, and I totally disagree with that, though. I really, really like Revive, and I might like the gameplay better. I really like Recall, though, too, and I think there's room for both of these games. The big thing that Recall maybe has over it is the board is less annoying to set up. because there's less, like the hexes are giant.
Right.
And like it's less bumping and messing around and things. And your player board is a little cleaner. I do like the fact that it's more set on like the buildings, but like the card play is like less interesting than Revive's card play, but the symbols and things are maybe more clear and simpler and there's less of them. So like there's pros and cons both ways. And ultimately like the games are different enough that I would still play either of them depending on the time. But I think Recall is probably an easier teat.
So
to get
let me ask you,
into it?
as someone who hasn't played Recall but has played Revive, and like obviously I have limited space in my house. If I have Revive, do I buy Recall?
Ooh, that's a good question. Yes.
Okay. So, and then is there ever a time, because then the follow-up question is, if they're both on my shelf and I feel like I want to play something in that universe, is there going to be one I'm going to favor over the other?
If you love Revive,
Yeah.
you need Recall. I just think you do.
Okay.
And I don't think you would ever get rid of Revive because you own Recall. If you owned neither of these and you wanted one, maybe Recall just because it's easier and more streamlined. I don't know that it's necessarily better.
Yeah.
You could maybe play Recall with more people.
I think you can.
It's more approachable.
It might be a little more approachable, like especially with the symbology.
Okay.
I think Recall might be easier to have a big turn than Revive. I'm thinking back to my Revive game plays, and I don't know if I ever can combo wombo into a big turn. And that's probably just because I'm not good. But with Recall, I did it a couple times, and that felt really good to combo. Like, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. Oh, now I can do this, and I'm going to do that. It just felt easier to.
This sounds like something BJ Rosas.
Keeping track of all that stuff though is annoying. There's so much stuff, and some of the turns are super long.
Okay, so downtime could be an issue.
Yeah, like that was part of my problem with the game. There were some real long turns, and depending on who you're playing with, they could be real long turns. So either of these games, like, and I'm with you, Jeremy. I'm not sure Revive has as combo-y of things.
I would agree.
It definitely,
it
definitely does have some.
Yeah. Revive occasionally, especially if somebody saves up a bunch of the little lightning bolts for the free actions on their player board, can have really, really wild turns, much like Recall. Recall is going to have more of those, and they're definitely easier to do in terms of just the resources that become naturally available to you in Recall. But having played both, Recall only once, but I've played Revive maybe a dozen times, I would say that Recall is definitely going to be easier to get a newer player into. It's a little less arcane in terms of when you look at Revive for the first time, it's not going to make very much sense to most people. Recall is an easier game to just read naturally.
Fair.
But I really like them both, and I agree with Rob. If you loved Revive, you are very likely to like Recall quite a bit as well.
Cool.
Also, Revive with the expansion, like the expansion, even though it adds just more stuff, it is one of the expansions that I really I always play with now because it's so good. And BGA has all of Revive on it and the expansion stuff, and it's fantastic on there. Did you want to talk about any other ones? I know you had some overlap, but is there any other highlights?
Those are probably the big ones. I've mentioned earlier I played Rats of Wistar for the first time after we played Ants, and I really enjoyed my time with Rats. Again, I like that card play with the tag systems. I found that really satisfying, and in both games I leaned pretty hard into cards.
Also worth noting, I love the artwork in those games. Like just that cartoony, it makes it feel more approachable, even though it is a medium to medium heavy game, right?
Sure.
Yeah, and I think the Board Boys might be doing a bigger episode at some point about Luthier, but I'd like to mention that I brought my copy of Luthier, and we got
copies.
that.
Yeah, I got that. Mine played yesterday.
And we played that again, and I've played that 3 times now, and I also really love Luthier. I think Paverson knocked it out of the park with that one.
They don't miss.
It had
Distilled and Luthier are both amazing, vastly different games, but both amazing.
Yeah, it has a lot of Tricarion DNA in it, but it's less punishing and less mean. And I love the theme. Vincent Dutray's artwork is absolutely gorgeous.
Always. Just
a beautiful game, and I've had a great time playing it every time.
Yeah, I will say Distill was a miss for me, but I liked Luthier quite a bit. I'm curious to play it again because a game like that, you definitely need to play multiple times. Yeah. But I know Cam has a copy, so we'll be main reviewing that probably in the next few episodes. Jeremy, how about you?
So my number 1 was Recall. We won't talk about that more, but for me, it does kill Revive, I think. I just liked a lot of things we talked about better in there. And it was fun to do big surprising things on the board that like I remember one time, Rob, you're like, how did you do that? And I'm like, I did this and I jumped that and I put this down. You're like, you beat me. So I thought that was fun. That was my number one. So we haven't talked about this one yet. I'm probably going to pronounce it wrong. Ayar, the Children of the Sun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
That is Fabio Lopiano.
And the other two games in that spiritual series are
Merv and Sancore. Yep.
I haven't played either of those two. What I liked about this one was you have these disciples, these husbands that are going down the tracks. And as the game goes, different ones fall off, which change what things are going to score and what is valuable or not valuable. And so it's kind of like you're building a scoring engine cooperatively or maybe discooperatively because you're trying to manipulate it. So, Rob's scoring engine falls apart. And I thought that was an interesting...
We call that competitively.
Competitively. I just thought I've never played anything like it. I thought that was very interesting that, your engine you built might fall apart. And the other thing that was interesting is you have two scoring markers. You have a moon and a sun. And the moon ones, you can really build those up pretty easily and they can get way out in front.
Yeah.
But your score is the lower of the moon and the sun. And it seems like a big part of the game is how do you keep your sun keeping up with your moon points?
So how heavy would you say this game is? I'm just curious. Because I haven't played this, but I've played Sancore, which is, I think, the heaviest of them.
I would say not heavy to learn.
Okay.
But figuring out, it was heavy in my brain trying to figure out which guy is going to retire,
right,
and where to put my scoring things to capitalize. So it's not heavy rules overload, but you're just thinking about the timing strategy.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's the timing, and this is not your solo multiplayer. This is not your solo Euro game.
No.
Right.
This is highly player interaction.
Okay.
And the scoring is not immediately apparent to maybe how you're going to score your points or even guaranteed to score your points because of that player interaction on the board. I love this game because it has tracks that are actions. And I think that's really funny.
Geez.
I love the action track system in this is fairly unique. And I like how there's 4 different mini games you're basically playing.
Okay.
And you got to decide how I'm going to get my mini games to score the most.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is not as heavy as Sancore.
Sancore is heavy.
We have not done a review. And you know what? Sancore also has kind of an obfuscated scoring system.
Yes.
Understanding how you're going to score points. I think it's a little easier in this one than Sancore.
Okay.
If I were to rank them in heavy, I'd say Merv, Ayar, then Sancore.
I guess it's lightest to heaviest.
And I would say I like Ayar, Sancore, Merv in that order.
Okay.
Yeah, to Rob's point, the 4 mini games, the game only has 4 actions, and they're all pretty straightforward. Where one is 2 of them basically are little tile laying games, but one of them you're just basically doing set collection with little pots. One of them you're laying these little textile tiles, and you just want to match symbols on the sides of them. It's pretty straightforward. One, you're literally just putting cubes out in rows on the board, and the last one is you just move a little boat around. And they're all pretty easy to understand, but the order in which you do them and the power at which you do them, and there's a little worker movement part of the game, all of that adds some strategy to it. And, to everyone else's point, figuring out how you're actually going to score is where the complexity is in the game. The actions themselves are very easy to understand.
Okay.
Yeah, the game was not difficult even to teach. I've taught it a couple of times, and
I might have to see if I can sneak a play of this one in before the end of the
It's
con.
fun. I'd play it again. It's a good time. And it's actually already available in the US. I had it weeks ago, actually.
Right.
Because Osprey Games tends to get their games here before Essen, which is kind of cool. They do. Yeah. They're pretty good at timing their releases.
I knew it was an O word. I was like, it's not the op, but it has a P in it.
One more game I thought was fun to mention.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because it was late at night. I also like to talk about a silly game. And it's kind of been the joke of the con. Bouba Kiki? Is that how you say that one?
Yeah.
Bouba Kiki is amazing.
That was going to be I was going to go through surprises of the con.
I'll let you talk about that one.
If we have
that was my surprise.
If we have a rating system of PGG, PG-13, what is this podcast before we start talking about this?
I mean, we're PG-13.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll keep my mouth shut.
All right. Well, I got a couple to talk about. The first one I want to talk about is Coming of Age. This was one of the ones I was most excited
so
to play.
need to play this game.
It is from Danny Garcia, and the publisher is Ludonova. The artist is Edu Valls. This is a game about growing up, and
Which I've yet to do.
perfect. And there's been a few games that have tried this theme, and I really liked how this one implemented it. The player board, in Danny Garcia fashion, he's got a really unique, weird player board, and in this one, like, you basically have a track that kind of remind me of Prodigal's Club a little bit, where you're like messing with how people like you and like you're becoming friends with all these different people, including the other players and like these random other people that aren't like NPC types. And as you become friends with them, you move them down the tracks and you score points. You also have all these different like emotion sliders that you're messing with. And I'm going to fail at remembering the tokens, but a big way you can score points in this game is basically the game is 9 rounds, and you start off with a D4. You roll the D4, you put it, and you do an action with it. You can modify where it is by taking these like anxiety tokens or something, frustration
I think they were
tokens.
frustration tokens.
Yeah, so you're frustrated, and you put it on the right side of a track, but you can no longer score that
Are
track.
you frustrated because you stepped on the D4?
Maybe, but
It is the sharpest
you
dice.
can fix your frustration and you flip it over to a scoring side and then you put it on the other side of the track and then you slide your thing to that side of the track and you score it. So it's like you're figuring out in life how to fix your frustrations and you score points from them.
All right, I have to play this game.
And then like you can put presents in areas and so that lets you do more actions. And then this little school bus drives down the road and activates all the places where you have dice and you have presents, and you get to do actions, and you get to accomplish cards. And I think we learned this out of the rule book, which is really rough. And I think we all had a fairly bad time for about the first half of the game.
Yeah.
I really liked the game by the end. Like, I'm excited to try it again.
I want to try it again,
I think
knowing what
it's-
I'm doing going in.
I think it's
All right, well,
fairly
you
unique.
have another player.
Yeah.
Call me when you do. 'Cause
I've played another Danny Garcia recently that I don't know if they've talked about on the podcast yet, which is the Voynich puzzle. And
I
as
have that one. I need
as Rob mentioned, I also had a really rough time learning that one out of the rule book, and the first play was a little questionable, but I ended up really liking it by the time I learned it. I feel the same way about Coming of Age. I do have a funny note from our game, which is that Jeremy married my character, but was also dating Rob on the side.
Yes.
That is true.
Yep.
But this game kind of tells stories. And I didn't mention
Jeremy, you stud.
He's a
over
dog.
the 9 rounds.
That
So-
was my focus, was building friendships with people.
Oh,
and
you built
relationships.
friendships, all right.
Yeah. So every round you unlock a new emotional slider, and every round you roll more dice, and they're bigger dice. So you roll 1d4. Then the next 2 rounds you roll 2d6. Every round you place one of them. Then you roll 3d8, and there's 3 turns in round 3, and then in round 4 you roll 4 d10s.
No, I thought it
Or
went
3.
down. It went down at one point, didn't it?
No, the last 2, the D8s and the D10s, we had 3 of each. So we had
Okay.
a D4, 2D6, 3D8, 3D10, and
That's right.
yeah.
And so and as the numbers get bigger, your world grows and you can go visit more locations. Like at the beginning, it's like you go to school and your house and like something. And
That's
then,
where Ben and I met, was at school.
Yeah.
And
As
we
little
kinda,
kids.
We kind of went to the same places the first few years of our life.
yeah, and then
Like
as
he's
you
talking about his spouse. This is hilarious.
and then as you get older,
Exactly.
then you can go to the arcade and the movie theater, and then you can go to like the decrepit house over there, or like go play on the train tracks. Like
I think Rob was homeschooled. He kept going to his house instead of school.
the game was funny. Like
Okay.
I really enjoyed it.
I hate to cut you off here, but I actually have to leave to go teach Galactic Cruise, which, by the way, I suggest, speaking of every games, everyone needs to play.
We have
But,
reviewed that.
You have.
We have.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a 3-boinger for me. So
Perfect.
yeah. But either way, I
Boing.
thoroughly enjoyed my 30-something minutes on the show, but I going to have to say goodbye now. So,
Perfect.
Thank you for
but
joining us.
I'll be there and I'll come back again shortly.
All right. Another one for me was Baghdad, the City of Peace. I backed this. I had no idea it was even out. I walked by it in the library and I'm like, yep. I grabbed it. It is by the Shackleton Base Crew, Fabio Lopiano and Nestor Mangione. Alley Cat Games is the publisher and the artist is Roland McDonald. This game as close to my game of the con yet. I haven't decided yet. I've got to reflect, but I'm really pumped that I backed Baghdad because it has a cool mechanism that is not in a lot of games, and it has a cool rondelle mechanism. So in Baghdad City of Peace, and the rules for this is similar to Ayar. The game is pretty simple as far as the actions go, but the strategy and the timing are the things. Like they have a big thing in common with that. So you are basically playing a card, and that will slide cards down a row. Your cards have symbols on them, which will cause you, if you have boats, you'll be able to move your boat around and do stuff. And then you'll basically take your vizier that's on the board and move him to the next quadrant. And he can either take a tile from the board, or he can build a building, or he can build the palace. And the palace is this cool 3D wooden block structure. And all of those things are going to score you points. The thing is, if you put it's got this like cool little track on it, where if you place your vizier next to a student or like a sick person, you have to help them. And if you don't, you have to move it down on this track. So like, and then if you get to the bottom, you start taking shame tokens. So there's kind of like, man, do I got to go there? You got to manage this resource. It's like the students, you got to pay them $1 to help with their tuition, or you got to take 2 of these shame bumps. And the sick people, I guess because you're like ignoring them and you didn't take them, you have to just take a shame or like move down on the track 1 time. And if you ever hit the bottom, that's bad news. The action economy is crazy. Like your board has, when you're taking the tiles to put on your board, you're filling out this tableau and doing all kinds of cool stuff with it. But you have to have more symbols. Like everything takes 1, 2, 3, or 4 symbols. And so you have to have that number of symbols, and you only ever get to use your card 1 time. So your card is going to exist for 3 turns and then fall off. And so every turn you're drawing a new card, and the game ends when all the cards run out and you've played your last card. I'm excited to play this one again. I'm glad that it's coming. Baghdad, the City of Peace, was pretty sweet.
I do have one question. I walked by you playing that a few times, and I saw like this building in the middle. Were you guys building that during the game? Okay.
Yeah, that is the palace, actually, that you're building.
That was really cool looking.
If I had one critique, there's this token that you can play that lets you jump quadrants. There's only 1 palace building spot per quadrant.
Oh.
And towards the end of the game, we were all rushing to do that. And like, I constantly couldn't build the palace when I wanted to because there's only 1 spot. But that just means that those jumpy tokens are more important. And like, I didn't get a lot of them. So like, you need that nugget to like maybe be able to take an action you want to take. The buildings in that, when you build them in a quadrant. That's cool. Whenever you hit that quadrant, you get to do the bonus on your building. So I thought that was really cool as well.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to play this one, but knowing that Rob has it back home, I'm very much looking forward to playing it. I loved Shackleton Base, a previous game from these designers, as Rob mentioned. I will say this one definitely stands out more on the table than Shackleton Base, kind of notorious for being gray, generic moon game. I will say Shackleton looks a lot better with some upgraded components, but this one looked really cool. The card play looked interesting, and I'm looking forward to giving it a shot.
I will say that I think we did not play a lot of space games this con, and we've reviewed a lot of space games recently. The last one I want to talk about is Ada's Dream. This is one that I recently just got. It is also by Alley Cat Games, actually, and the designer is Tony Lopez, and the artist is Javier Gonzalez Cava. Ada's Dream, you're building some of the first computers. We're probably going to do a review on this one. This one felt very Newton-y to me with the different parts of the board. You're basically moving dice around a rondelle to do an action, to take a dice, then to put a dice on your board to do an action, to either like build your machine, to move around on a board, to go up some institute tracks, or to get more cards. And then it's all endgame scoring. By the end of this game, you have 0 idea who's going to win the game generally. And the combo-y nature and just the different paths to victory seem awesome in this one. I need to play it again. I've taught the game like 3 times, and I've only played it once. That's been like my good deed every time I walk through the hot games room. And so like, I really feel like I have the rules down now, so I'm excited to try it again.
Yeah, the player board in Ada's Dream is really interesting. You have this grid where you're making rows and columns of numbers on dice and multipliers, or like addition and subtraction tokens, and basically determining how many points you're going to score while also plugging in programs that give you bonuses if you set up certain combinations of things in that row or column. A lot of little, like, elementary school level math problems, but also a lot of meaningful decisions on when you play something that made it a really interesting game. I had a good time with that one.
All right, let's talk about maybe a game that we played that we were surprised about or didn't know about. Jeremy's was Bouba Kiki, I think. That would have been mine too, so I'll talk about a different one. But Jeremy, why don't you tell us about Bouba Kiki?
So it seemed really ridiculous when Rob brought it out.
By the way, this is from Grand Gamers Guild and Jonathan Schaefer.
I don't know. Before going into this, I'm trying to decide if I'm terrified to play with my kids or if it will be hilarious. Kind of goes back to Logan's comment. Are we PG-13 or R-rated? But anyway, in Bouba Kiki, what you're doing is you have these cards with like crazy... We have these cards with crazy drawings, like squiggles. And then the other side of the card is crazy words that aren't really words, like Ziffer and Doro. What's another one? Just
I've been making up
words
like Sliffnat and Zerpmon and they anything like that appears on these cards.
And it's kind of a party game, and there's different. It's a co-op party game, kind of.
Yeah, and there's like scenarios you go through.
Scenarios, and essentially what you're doing is there's kind of different versions, but you reveal a picture, and then somebody puts. You have maybe this is the one I like the best. You have 3 words out there, and then you have a hand of cards and you're looking at the pictures. And when it's your turn, you have to play a card, the picture side up, that matches with a word that you think it's going to be. And then everybody else is guessing which word you're matching up to. So I might play a squiggle that looks like giraffe or something. And then the people are trying to pick, well, which nonsense word does that match up to? And I think that is the hilarious part where the people's brains will go. And then after you flip them over, you're like, obviously that was a Ziffner. How could you say that was a Doro? And I think what was interesting is Rob was pretty much like 100%, right? Almost.
I didn't miss, and the one time I missed, I was in the majority of people.
Yes. So
that was a game, unlike another game we played, that clicked in my brain. I think that this play of that sold multiple copies to people that maybe played it, because I know I'm going to get it, because I think playing with my family over like the holidays would be super awesome. And they're going to think it's hilarious. My son really likes da da da, which is kind of the same thing, like caveman speak about trying to like say things that mean things. But I really like the illustration thing. And sometimes you do the flip and the opposite, right? And you're trying to match the symbol to the word or the word to the symbol. You can go either way.
I think it gave me vibes of emotionally like Green Team Wins. I played that with my family in large gatherings. And, in that game, you're trying to match what the majority says. And so this is you're trying to read the mind of what everybody else is going to say. And it creates a lot of laughs once you reveal the cards. I think that's what I liked about it.
All right, Ben, how about you?
Yeah, just wrapping up Bouba Kiki real quick, I will say I think pretty much everyone at the table at one point or another was basically in tears laughing because we were having such a good time with it. It's a very silly game. I don't know if it'll be for everybody, but I will play that game 50 times and have a good time every time.
Yeah, I'm glad you saw a review on it and pointed it out to me, and I brought it to the table.
Yeah, Efka did a review of it. I don't think he liked it nearly as much as I did, but I really enjoyed that game. That was a good time. Rob quickly mentioned another association game we played that may never be spoken of again, but a game called Stroop, which was a game where every player has a small deck of cards, and there is a card on the table. And you basically have to do a word/color/pattern association with the cards in your hand and the card on the table. And the rules change every time somebody plays a card. And it's a speed game, simultaneous play. You're trying to empty your deck. Apparently, that clicked really well for me and not so well for a couple other people at the table, where I was just playing 15 cards in a row and nobody even knew what was going on. I thought it was really funny.
My brain was not fast enough at that time of night for that. And then in round 2, you flip and you do the reverse thing, and I kept playing the wrong card because I was playing the last round's rules, and my brain was like, what? So, I don't know. I would play Stroop again when I'm more awake, but still, this game is not for everyone, especially because it's a speed game. But it definitely, the rules make fun of you because there's like a harder deck of cards too, and they're like, you are not ready for that. they're basically like, you might think this game is easy and it's not, and they're not wrong.
Yeah, he revealed a couple of the cards from the second half of the game, and it had things like mirrored words. You know, they're literally the letters are flipped backwards, which with the way that this game plays is just madness.
Yeah. Well, we might have lost a Logan, but we gained a mystery guest. Why don't you introduce
Hey
yourself?
guys, it's David Duga.
Hey.
What's up, y'all?
Hey, Dave, why don't you hit us with, we're going to do you in the reverse. Why don't you hit us with your surprise game of the con?
I enjoyed a couple games. I played Magical Athlete for one. Man, that was a trip roll and move game. It was just wild, chaotic. Like you roll, move, and you activate your card. It was really insane the way the characters interacted with each other. Like you'd move forward, backwards. Insane. Played another one. We played that after Hot Streak, which was the mascot racing game.
Yeah, baby.
Hot Dog Man.
Oh yeah, dude.
Two crazy
The-
racing
the
games from the
Team
same
Fish.
company.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. That game rocked. What was crazy was like I didn't know when we were playing, but like you deal out the deck, right? Or you deal out 3 cards to everyone, and you have a deck of cards, but you put cards back in, but you still play from the same deck.
Yep.
So like the race that happens on the second race could be completely different
Yep.
depending on like because cards get taken out and
Yeah, like,
and
because
like
you burn 3
you gain
cards.
knowledge, but you don't really
Yeah.
gain as much.
You never have perfect knowledge
Right.
for sure.
It's that game was insane. And what was it?
Our Echo Plus.
Our Echo Plus.
Yeah.
That game actually rocked, dude. I like card games like that.
Yeah.
It was Japanese a game about recycling,
Yeah.
and like you would play a card. There was 2 sections, top and the bottom, on the I guess the one facing me, but it was opposite y'all.
Yeah. There's a recycling
It was a
side.
recycling
Yep.
side. Another side was garbage.
Yep.
You would take the recycling cards and place it face up, and then you would take the garbage on top and put it into your hand
Yep.
to try to recycle, which was cool. It was kind of actually thematic. But if you had more than 5 cards in your hand, you would like get shamed for having too much garbage.
You have to
So you'd
illegally dump
You'd
it.
have to put a card down, and you would take negative points. Right? You'd have to illegally dump it.
Yep.
Anything over 5.
If you manage to
But
play the
if you
whole
manage-
game
Right.
without dumping illegally, you are a good company and you get a bonus.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you like, try to dump as much as you can get a lot of points. And
Yeah. It's my second time playing, and both times the person that shamed the most won. So
because like you're just constantly trying to get those. There's in between each section is a certain point value you would gain.
Yep.
And like they increase the further down the stack you go. So like you're just trying to dump as much as you can, recycle, and like get as many points as you can to outweigh the negative points you get.
yeah. So
Your
there's
shame.
there's a 0 on top of all of them, and they increment and get tall, and they get bigger until you hit a -2 card,
Right.
and then you get the last ones. And the game ends when one of the piles is gone, and there's 4 different colors of garbage and that you're working with. But if you only get 1 card of a color, you don't even get to score that color. So that's unique
Right.
too.
That's
And the other cool part is you always add 1 more to the garbage side than to the recycling side. So every time you, like, if you play 2 cards down to a spot where there's 1 card and there's not 4 symbols there yet, so there's like 3 cards there, then you add 4 cards at the bottom of that thing. You always add more to the bottom than the top. And so you have to take increasingly more cards. So like managing your hand size is very important.
what's cool is you can like mess people over. You can leave a pile of recycling there, and eventually it's almost like Azul, right? Where
Yep.
like someone has to take that last tile and they'll take the extra
Exactly.
tiles. It's kind of like a
Yeah.
waiting game.
Yep.
Trying to like bait someone into taking.
I've only
the
played this
leftover.
game twice, and both times it was like the last night of the game of the night. And so like I'm really tired. And the first time I'm like, I don't want to play this stupid Japanese card game about garbage. And I was like, that game was awesome. And so I actually bought it at Gen Con, in their virtual flea market for like $10. Cause this is like an import game. It's hard to get in the US. So our Echo Plus, if you see it out there, don't be afraid of this little small box Japanese card game.
And if you want to have extra fun with it, have Rob very seriously read the rule book to you.
Yes. It's very
It's
poorly
very literal-
translated.
It's like literally translated from Japanese, so like it's worded Just like you were.
It kind of sounds like should be like I was dubbed, you know?
Yeah, I enjoy all the references to bringing shame to your family and being a good, upstanding company. It was very fun.
It's not like you very much points or something like that, you know.
Yes.
You got anything else, Dave?
No, off the top of my head, but y'all were talking about there and back again.
That is our main review.
Right,
it's coming up shortly. I'm gonna hit my surprise game. I think was Dewan. This was on my list because it was on the short list for hot games, and it looked cool. This is by Johan Goopy and Johan Levet, and it's by Space Cowboys, which I love Space Cowboy stuff. They do like really usually cute filler type games. This is kind of like it's hard to explain, like a area majority kind of route building card playing game. Does that explain it right?
I'm not sure how I would even describe it.
It's kind of like Ticket to Ride, we decided.
The category is territory building, is what it says. And basically what you're doing is on your turn, you're either taking cards or you're playing cards to build buildings out, and you have to play the cards that match the route where you want to build your building. And as you build buildings, you're either going to slot cards for symbols or take cards for scoring. And at the end of the game, it triggers once you built your last building, and you're going to score points for all the stuff. Actually, I played this game so many games ago, I don't remember all the specifics of it, but it's on my wish list now because I really liked it for the length of it and like the simplicity and the speed of play and the strategy, and it was pretty.
Yeah, that was it was one of those games that I think you could definitely teach to your family, to a non-gamer person, if you will. It has Jeremy's comment about how we thought it might be kind of similar to Ticket to Ride. It does have a bit of a contract fulfillment element to it, where you have these bonus tiles where you want to just build things touching certain symbols on the main board to complete them, and then they give you bonuses and score points. It was really easy to learn. We played it pretty fast. It was pretty fun. Yeah, give Dewan a try.
Oh, just one more game I want to talk about. But you already talked about Recall, right?
Yes, we did.
Yes, and everyone had glowing. I'm pretty sure eventually y'all will do a main
for sure
show on it. Dude, that game rocks, man.
You loved it?
I loved it, man. I love the key card action, the action system. I guess it would be. I like the card play in Revive, which I'm guessing y'all talked about too. The
Sure
comparisons.
Yep.
But I think I like the little key card mechanic a little better.
All right. I think I like the Dave Dugas storyline with this because the year Revive came out, Cam came over and was like, Dave, do you want to, we knew nothing about this game. We just saw it on the Hot Games room. We're like, what is that? We have to play it. And Cam and I learned it. And we're like, all right, this game's not as hard as it looks. And so he comes over to Dave and he's like, Dave, do you want to play this post-apocalyptic game?
Yeah,
Dave's like, oh, we're gonna murder each other. And
I thought it was gonna be some kind of Mad Max wasteland.
So this was back in the Dave 5 era too, which the Dave 5 is a time unit of its own. But he sits down, I explain it to him, and he famously says, dude, I think I'm out.
Yeah, I'm out. And I got up and left. Well, you gotta understand that I just spent 2 or 3 days in a row playing heavy Euros.
Yeah, this was early on in our friendship.
Right. Yeah.
And Dave was unprepared for the unrelenting assault of middle to heavyweight Euros that I was going to throw at him.
And dude, that was the game after I did give it a try. And that was one of the games that I regret not playing with y'all the most.
Yeah, that's what I like about it. Cause you ended up playing it and then you were a big fan of it, right?
Yeah, dude, totally.
Yeah. So you were all, when we talked about Revive or Recall, I knew you were in.
Right. I was definitely in. Yeah. I love Revive, Recall.
Love it.
I think I like Recall a little bit better.
I think that was the sentiment maybe around the table besides me. So I don't know that I like one better than the other. I think I need more plays.
I think I might be on the same side of Rob on this one, where I think there are aspects of Revive that are more interesting. I think the player factions have a lot more going on, and I think the card play is more dynamic than what's going on with the keys and Recall. But I also think that Recall is going to be a lot easier to get repeat plays of and to get new players into, which is a big advantage for me because I play games with multiple groups. I teach games a lot. There are a lot of people that I'm confident I could get to play Recall and would have a good time with that I would never play Revive with. So there's kind of a balancing act there where I really like both games. They're both good at different things. I'm not sure which one I like more right now.
Yep.
It's definitely like Recall Revive is more involved because like even your player board, there's a lot more to do.
That's what I was saying. I think I like the player board better in Revive just because there's
It's
more
like-
stuff and like you get to build your own machines and like make it your own.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of like combo scoring things, but the player board in Recall is different and also cool.
Yeah.
They both have giant player boards that are fun. So
that you
It's like
plug lots of
Design said,
extra stuff into.
yeah.
Designer said, how can I make this more streamlined?
Yeah. Recall
what it feels
also
like.
is one of the more phallic board games that I've ever played.
Very true.
Dude, we spent half the time just inserting keys into slots. And
There's even a building that looks like that.
Yep.
What'd your wife think of that when you sent her
Dude,
the
how many
picture?
boings would she give it?
She gave it 4 boings.
Nice.
So the last one I want to talk about is Popcorn. This one I wanted to play because Cam was like, "Hey, Rob, do you want to play this popcorn game about running a movie theater on BGA?" And I've taken like 1 turn in that on BGA so far, but this is by Yellow, and it is a bag building, pretty simple. Buy movies, buy theaters to improve your theaters, draw your guys out, match them to the things. You're matching the colors to the movies and the chairs to generate popcorn, which is points, and you have a cute little bucket that you put your popcorn in, and you basically go until all the movies run out, and then you score your points. I was slightly disappointed in this one. I still think I'm probably going to own it because I love the theme so much. The game loop was fun, but I feel like it felt fairly repetitive.
Yeah.
But the movie titles were hilarious.
Oh, yeah, dude.
So like the experience was fun. I also think if this is now that I've played it once, like if you play it with people that know it, like you can probably click through it a little faster. And part of the turns are simultaneous anyway, which is nice. But it does say the game plays like in an hour, which I would say is probably accurate. And I feel like is too long for what the game is. Like if this was like a 30-minute game, I think that'd be more in line with where I want this to be.
Right.
It wasn't enough game or interesting enough to be an hour. It was really funny. Like someone told me that the Dice Tower didn't like it because it was mean. And that I didn't get at all. Like
Just taking the workers.
you take a worker out of somebody's exit or whatever. I always had
but
so
everyone
many guys.
can do that though.
Yeah, I don't know. Like to not like it for that reason, shame on you.
I just don't think there's enough game there for it to last as long as it does.
Yeah, I would agree. Like, I'll be curious to play it though. Like games that I think like Botanicus, where I wanted to play it with like my family and more casual, that did not hit because it was like a little too gamey for them. I wonder if this is one that maybe they will enjoy more. You know, like your more casual crowd might be like, "Oh, this is fine."
The theme is really cool.
That's what I'm
and, like,
saying.
The way
And, like,
the movies run, like have a showtime. I guess like it's almost like representing like a month of the movie being
Right.
in
The
theaters.
longer they stay in there, the less bonuses they can give you. So I don't know. I think it's neat, and I'll be curious to see what like my family thinks about it because it's something that I want to play some more.
Yeah, I didn't play this one with the group, but I did observe from the outside for a little while, and I will say the movie titles are basically all knockoffs of real movies. So there's like The Godmother and The Eliminator instead of Terminator, and they're all really funny. And I just got a lot of laughs just walking around looking at the movie titles that everybody had because they're hilarious.
Yeah, it's way better than if they actually licensed real movies. So
100%.
perfect.
Every round when the new movies came out, that was probably one of the highlights of the game as we read all the movie titles and looked at them.
Yep.
Can I bring up one more game?
Sure.
I just want to shout out Level 99. They had a free-to-play event. Played to win, of Spectacular. And
Yeah.
I played it before and loved it. And like my even second playthrough just like kind of like solidified that game rocks, dude.
Yeah, we just reviewed it for the Halloween episode. I really like Spectacular a lot.
And it was really cool at Level 99 to like give out a copy. And they had like they gave away a decent amount of copies for
yeah, that's what Logan was saying. That's cool.
So yeah, that was really cool though.
All right, well, it is main review time here on the Board Boys podcast. Today we are doing The Hobbit, There and Back Again. It is by good old Reiner Knizia. The artist is Lorenzo Colangeli, and the publisher is Office Dog. It is currently rated 3,389th overall on Board Game Geek. That is 7.6 out of 10. It came out in 2025. In The Hobbit, There and Back Again, hobbits compete to make the most rewarding journey to the Lonely Mountain. It is 1 to 4 players. BGG says best at 2. 30-minute playtime, ages 10 plus. The weight is 1.94 out of 5. Does somebody want to give us the roll down on what you do in The Hobbit there and back again?
Yeah, so in The Hobbit There and Back Again, you are working through the chapters or maybe the major story arcs of the Hobbit novel. So it's a series of 8 missions. Each mission is representing a different part of that story. The first mission, you are trying to get all of the dwarves to Bilbo's house, and you also need to feed them, and you're trying to get bonuses by getting Gandalf and Thorin to come as well. The second mission, you're sneaking through the cave with the trolls and trying to distract them long enough so that they get hit by the sunlight and get turned to stone, and so on and so forth until you make it all the way to the final missions where you are fighting Smaug, the dragon in the mountain. So each mission is completely different. The mechanics of the game change with each one. How you score changes with each one, but the core gameplay loop stays the same, just with some modifications as you go through. So it's reminiscent of something like Welcome to the Moon in that way, where every mission you play is different, but the core gameplay loop stays pretty similar.
All right, well, let's get to the table and come back with our thoughts on The Hobbit There and Back Again. All right, we are back. Initial thoughts on The Hobbit There and Back Again. I'll go ahead and start. I didn't know this game existed, and then at Gen Con, I saw it on the for sale sign thing at the Fantasy Flight booth, and I was like, okay. And I was getting in line for the Star Wars Battlefront game anyway, and I got to the front of the line, and I said, I'll take The Hobbit There and Back Again, please. And they said, it didn't show up. So I was sad.
Wow.
And so I started looking up stuff about it. But actually, the night before I went to their press event and I saw it on the table, so I kind of learned about it. And then I went down to the booth and was sad that they didn't have it. But I knew I had to have this thing. It's The Hobbit. I'm a Lord of the Rings nerd. And it just seemed like a really cool production and something that would be really easy to play with pretty much anybody and be a really cool filler game.
Yeah, I agree. Just talking about the game itself and the appearance of it, it's a pretty simple game in terms of components. Each player gets, Rob's holding it in his hands right now, but it's a little book that you flip through that has all the missions on it. And it looks really nice. It's got this cool stylized dragon on the cover.
It kind of looks like a children's board book.
I gotta say the art in there I think it's amazing. I like that when companies do their own art or their own take on an IP. And the first time I saw it, I like rolling rights. I'm okay with Lord of the Rings, lore, and Hobbit. I'm all right with that. I understand it. I know. Whoa. Everyone chill. Well, calm down. All right. But yeah, I was all in, man. It's cool.
I mean, you did tell me Dumbledore is really cool, right?
Yeah. I do like the...
Is it throwback to last year when we were playing the giant War of the Ring game,
Dude.
and all you were doing was making jokes that weren't Lord of the Rings.
Rips off of Lord of the Rings stuff, getting stuff wrong on purpose.
That's a
just
Dave
to
Dugas
see if I
special.
can get, a reaction for Rob or Jeremy, see what they do. But yeah, dude, I was totally on board with this game, and I'm glad I played it.
My first impression was rolling right. Okay, we'll just throw it. It'll be quick. Won't be that fun. I won't be entertained. Let's just play it. It was at Dungeons Gate, I think, is the first time I saw it.
Okay. So you played it a couple times?
Yep.
I think I'm not a huge roll and write fan either. And it's usually because I don't know, it doesn't feel gamey enough, I guess. And this one doesn't really feel gamey enough either. I guess this is probably gonna be a free form. Usually we go pros, cons, prawn type thing. I think we can just kind of talk about what we like and didn't like about this one. There's not a lot to it. A big pro for me is the markers in the box are actually really good markers. And I played it a bunch of times and there's no sign that they're gonna dry out.
Yeah, the markers are working great. The erasers are pretty good. They're chunky enough that they're not falling apart already after a few plays, which has been a problem with me with roll and writes in the past.
Yeah, and like leaving like residue on the pages and stuff. Like I haven't needed to like wet erase anything yet. So that part of it, and like that must mean the pages are pretty good, like as a
I
surface
think
as well.
another pro is just like the booklet form, what it comes in.
I
It's
really
like a
like
lot of roll and writes are like just sheets of paper or like those laminated sheets.
Yeah.
This is actually like a book, dude, that you're getting. It's really neat, really unique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And every time I've seen somebody grab the book, they start flipping through it like it's a children's book, and they're looking at the pictures. They're reading a little story at the beginning. I think that's one of the big pros of this game is the book.
Yeah, it has some really stylized, kind of angular, almost cartoonish art, but it looks really good and it's really unique. The box also is beautiful. The artwork on the box is nice, and the entire visual presentation of this game is really good.
It reminds me of the art a little bit of like the old Hobbit cartoon, if you remember that.
100%.
The
So
old
it's
trippy
kind of
one.
like that. I like how every part has like the scoring on the left and the map on the right, and they kind of explain the scoring above it.
Right.
And then in the rule book, the beginning of the rule book is like the core rules for the game, and then it has a page of rules for every chapter, like if you want to read more specifically and how the scoring works, which I think you kind of got to do. But the nice part is you can jump into the first one pretty quick because the core rules are pretty short. And then you just read the first one. And then when you're like, okay, let's play the next one, you can go in there and like just like read the next 2 pages and do it. So you can digest little by little. And let's just talk about part 1 maybe, because that's the one I've played the most. And I think probably everyone's played part 1. You're basically, it's an unexpected party is the chapter, and all the dwarves are showing up at Bilbo's house, just like the book. And you're collecting food to feed all the dwarves, and you end the game when somebody gets the last dwarf connected to Bag End. And when you ride over stuff, you can gain hats or swords or bread. You need bread to score more points when the dwarf gets there. And if you don't have the bread, you don't get to score the food points for him. Also, there's a race pretty much in all the things. There's like these little yellow starburst things. The first person to do that thing in this one, it's get Thorn and Gandalf there are going to score some points that nobody else can score, but everybody can get points for getting them there. But you don't have to even get them there to end the game. For me, a prawn for this game is the game will end exactly the time somebody takes a dice and gets the last dwarf there. And on every one of these pages, it can just end in the middle of the round. And the pro part is, one of the parts I don't like about roll and writes is I'm literally not caring what anyone else is doing. In this one, you have to pay attention to see how close people are to actually being done.
That's what I like about it, dude.
I even told people, like the last time I played with Logan and Doug, and I said, don't just sit there and collect bread the whole game, because I will just end it.
Yeah, right.
And I crushed them because they tried to do everything, and you can't do that. I did a thing that I hadn't tried before, like in this one, swords. So there's wooden tokens for bread, swords, and like acorns, which I don't even know what they do yet. In this one, you don't mark anything for swords on your sheet. You just collect the tokens. And if you get 15 or more tokens, you get 30 points. And like the max points you can get is 112 for the whole thing. And so just getting all my dwarfs home and a little bit of bread and all those swords was enough to win, because they didn't get all their dwarves home because they were trying to like do them all at once and feed them all at once. And you can't do that. So like you kind of got to teach a little bit of strategy, I think, in it. And
you can
so
definitely speed run through it.
if you're a completionist, you may not like this game because you can't really be a completionist. Also, but if you're also the one to end it, you're not going to win, because the next two are races, and the people that have ended those, I've never seen win, because the other people are just messing around scoring more points.
Yeah, that's kind of a prawn of the game for me as well. Like Rob mentioned, I am one of those people that just went to try to complete the objective and lost horribly. The second mission in particular with the trolls, I think it was the third one actually that was the most noticeable that was a problem, where you run through a storm and then you have to hide in a cave and have enough food to survive in the cave, and then you've got to get past a bunch of I think they're goblins, right?
Yep.
Orcs. And in that mission, I ran through and completed the mission pretty well ahead of everybody else. And Rob absolutely destroyed me by just hanging out in the cave with all the bread because there's a lot of points there.
Yeah, I was just hiding in the cave eating my
You're
bread.
chomping on bread, dude.
So there's an element of the game where the way to win the game is not necessarily to actually do the main objective of the missions. It's just to do the things that give you points, which is often not the same thing. So that, for me, it feels like a little bit of a mixed bag where the bonus you get for finishing first is very minor compared to what you can get from doing some of the kind of secondary tasks of the mission, which I feel like maybe should have been balanced a little bit differently. But overall, I still really enjoy the game.
I mean, part 2 and part 3. Part 2 is roast mutton, where you're kind of traveling from Bag End to Rivendell, and in the middle you got to fight some trolls. But like, you only get and then the next one is over hill and under hill, and that's kind of when they get out of the storm and hide in the cave and meet the Goblin King. And the 2 races, there's a thing in the game where there's sections, and when you go past into the new section, you can never draw back in the old section. So you can mess around in a section as much as you want and score, but in the 2 races, ending it is not really worth points. So, like, it's a thing of, oh, do I think I have more points than people? Should I try to end it? Or should I mess around and try to get the points? And I don't think racing to the end is the way to go. You want to try to score points. Whereas in the first one, you're trying to maybe race to get the dwarfs done and do like kind of balance everything. And I really like that every map is different.
Right, it's mission dependent.
Yeah.
I think for me personally, a lot of rolling rights are like solitaire, right?
Yeah.
Everyone just has their head down doing their own thing. I think like this game is probably one of the more involved rolling rights. Like you're almost looking at what everyone's doing on their turn.
Yeah, and you're drafting dice.
The dice drafting is like really top notch.
Yeah,
I think it's fantastic.
To throw back, I mean, I guess we've reviewed 2 rolling rights in a row now because we just dropped our Tend episode. Tend, and we like the Anarchy that we've reviewed before, the giant spreadsheets. That is literally heads down. I don't care who's I'm sitting at the table with. This one, you can like chat and roll the dice and curse at people when they take the dice you want.
Yeah.
And like have to watch their boards. Like, I think that's why.
You can definitely like draft hate in this.
Yeah. This is
because you can purposefully take the longest road and not, even though you don't need it, because you can go over your lines that you've made on your road. You know?
This is definitely your beer and pretzels rolling right, where like you can just like hang out and play it and like not destroy your brain when you do it.
Yeah, I think a lot of rolling rights have a problem, depending on your perspective, but a problem where they're basically solo games that often have a very minor tacked on player interaction component to make them multiplayer, like one small mechanic of the game that cares about one thing your neighbor did. And Tend, as Rob mentioned, is one game that has that problem for sure. This is not like that at all. What your neighbors are doing is very important because, again, anybody can end the game at any time. So you really need to know when that's going to happen. And it's also relevant in that if the person that's passing dice to you is doing a particular thing a lot, you might not be able to do that thing. And that changes what your strategy should be, where you should focus on scoring points somewhere else because you're probably not going to get enough of the dice you need to score the thing that they're scoring. So there's definitely some interesting elements of the game there where what everybody else is doing matters a lot more, but also what everybody is doing is simple enough that you can just see it all on the table, which I think is great.
Yeah, 100%. In our game, Doug was taking all the food and Logan just kept like yelling at him for taking all the food. And like he didn't do very well because he didn't get enough dwarves home when he took too much food. But yeah, that rings true to exactly what you're saying.
I think the dice drafting is a pro of this, and a lot of rolling rights. I just really like that mechanic of we all roll the joint pool of dice. You see them all. You get that vibe of, I hope I don't take that one. That's one I really want. When somebody takes, so you go around in player order and everybody drafts the dice, and that's the actions you get to take on your board. Some of them draw more on the board. Some of them give me bread. Some of them give you swords. Some of them give you wizard's hats. And I think it's fun to kind of be watching those dice go away. And it's just a fun action selection. And in a 4-player game, it's really nice when you are the first player because you get 2 dice.
Yeah,
so you kind of feel like you get a bonus. I
was going to ask, is that in all player accounts?
Yes.
The first
that's
player
an all player
that's really cool mechanic, dude.
Well, in all player counts, some people will get more dice than the others because basically whoever gets less dice is the first player next round.
Okay.
So it kind of rotates around the table. So with 5 dice with 4 players, the first player is going to get 2.
So you roll
And
all the dice every player.
Yeah, and 3 players,
Okay.
2 people are going to get 2 dice, and one
Gotcha.
person's going to get 1, and then they're the first player. And in a 2-player game, one person's going to get 3, one person's going to get 2. So I see why people say this is best at 2, maybe because it's faster, but I don't think it's bad at any player count.
Yeah.
Because it's a fairly snappy game. Like, decisions don't generally take super long, and the hardest thing might be trying to figure out which way you want to orientate your dice to draw your line.
Yeah, I have another pro, and it's a pretty simple one, which is that a big part of this game is rolling a fistful of D6s, which is a very satisfying experience. It always has been, and it always will be. And these particular D6s are... The iconography on them is very clear. It's easy to see what's available. It's very obvious looking at your player book and at the dice what each one does. And I just really like rolling fistfuls of dice.
One pro for me is like how the bonuses are divvied out. As far as I played 3 chapters. Like the little witch hats that you use, you have to collect them to unlock the bonus.
Yeah, I was going to say, I like the witch hat nugget, basically,
Right,
because
yeah.
the witch hat can turn into a bunch of different
basically like-
things.
It's not a
a
witch
bone-
hat. It's Gandalf's hat.
Okay,
Come on.
I know, but we've been
Yeah, Lord of the Rings guy.
wizard.
Come on. It's Gandalf.
It's a pointy hat.
Yeah. I do like in the Overhill and Underhill that you get 3 hats to get Gandalf's staff to kill the...
You didn't even kill the
king.
Goblin King.
I did.
Ben and I did, and we got
Get him,
last.
Jeremy.
I was too busy eating bread,
Absolutely
man.
true.
I was,
Bread-
I was
hey,
hitting,
man,
I was
bread's
hitting
good.
second breakfast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I fought something like 8 or 9 goblins and got less points than the guy who hung out in a cave eating bread.
Yeah,
dude.
see,
Yeah,
I mean, this game is
he
the
was touring the cave.
have you seen a Hobbit?
Uh,
Do they fight goblins?
I'm
No,
not
they
ready
eat
for
bread.
second breakfast.
they eat
I mean,
that
I
bread and
zapped a
toured the
goblin king
cave.
with a wizard staff, and it was worth less points than 2 pieces of bread.
Nom nom nom.
I think that's one
Rob
of the,
was checking out the stagmites and was it stalactites
So-
or whatever.
I think that's a big pro of the game is the theme. And a lot of roll and writes, I don't really connect with the theme very well. The Lord of the Rings theme, a lot of people know it. And as you play the game, you kind of create some table story theme of, Rob, quit eating all the bread, or, did you kill the Goblin King yet? I want to kill. So I think the theme is strong in this. And
Yeah,
for
dude.
me, that kind of bumps it over the top of most roll and writes is the connection to that theme and the stories it makes as you play.
The like when you going on theme that in that chapter we were running through thunderstorms and like you're
Yep.
trying to get through there before you take a penalty. And that was part of like the added the theme of the game.
Yeah, and to be clear, the playtime on this, the 30 minutes, is probably on the long side, potentially, depending on player count for sure. But the 30 minutes was just one story, I think, right? So since there's 8, and this isn't a game that you're probably going to sit down and play the whole book, which leads me to like a partial con. Like, since it's a storybook format, I think a lot of people want to start from the beginning. And so I played the first one a ton. And sometimes I'm just like, but this is also a game where we've re-racked and played a couple in a row. And it's fun to do that. But like trying to tell somebody like, oh yeah, can we just start on chapter 5 just so I can see what's going on is like, it's like a kind of a legacy thing in that way.
You jump right in the middle of the book.
Yeah, well, plus like teaching the mechanisms like are easier, but like chapter
Right.
1 is completely different than chapter 2 and 3. And leading to that, I think I'm the only one that's played chapter 4, which is Riddles in the Dark with Golem. And this one plays completely differently. You literally just roll a D10 or D12. That's it.
Wow.
So you roll a D12 and you can draw polyomino shape of that. And you're trying to surround these riddle tiles. And then you're trying to surround the one ring. And you score points based on how many riddles you've done. If you've done the one ring, if you're the first person to do a riddle, you get points. If you're the first person to do the ring, you get points. There's water spaces that if you don't cover up, you get negative points. And the other cool thing is you can always choose, like if you roll an 11, you can take this 11 shape and mark it out. And there's 3 of each of the shapes. Or you can take any of the shapes underneath it. And if you mark out 3 of the shapes of one of the numbers, you get to mark a circle. And so like doing the same shape over and over again also is worth points. And the game ends when somebody solves all 8 riddles. Like that one was super cool because it was just different than all the rest of them.
Dude.
I do have to say -1 boing for that mission because I don't get to roll fistfuls of D6.
That's true.
But you might get to roll the big giant
Well, no,
metal
dude,
one
you
with
get to roll
characters you
something-
can't read
I can damage
Better
my
than-
table with the premium metal D12. That's true.
in the Rob version.
That's definitely plus a half a boing for that. Was it D12?
Yeah, there's this
It's
metal
elvish.
premium D12 that has, I think they're dwarvish runes all over them, or maybe the elvish
I think.
It's
runes.
elvish. Yeah.
So you have to look them up on a little reference card to figure out what they all mean. But it's a pretty neat dice.
Not Rob though. He reads it off the bat, dude. He can tell you what number is without even looking at that card.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Rob,
see?
have you played all 8 missions?
No, I haven't played 5. I haven't played anything past 4. And so I just kind of
So
wanted to
you played
talk.
half of them.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the other ones. 5 is where the dwarves get stuck in trees and the eagles come and save them. And it ends when you connect paths, the dwarves to the eagles and the flight paths, it looks like. So this one seems more reminiscent
of 1.
There's more going on in it, but reminiscent to 1. And then you have to deal with the spiders. And that one is when a player fills in all 12 spider spaces. You're back to rolling it looks like you're back to just rolling the D12 on that one. So that one seems similar to the golem one. And then you can play 7 and 8 as like an epic game, because 7 is like on the doorstep to smog and 8 is the fire and water. I guess -1 boing because there's nothing about Bjorn in here. And that dude is a sweet character. Unless I'm missing it somewhere. I wish it had Bjorn. But anyway.
What I was trying to
Make an
wonder,
expansion.
how many different kind of versions of them are there? Because that maybe is a con or a pro.
It looks like there's races. It looks like there's path connections. It looks like there's polyomino placement. The doorstep one is it ends when a player's entered all 13 spaces that shows gems. So this looks like a race where you're trying to go in here and do all the treasure things. But like they all have different objectives, and they use the resources and things differently. So the last one looks cool. You got to defeat smog, or when you mark all 10 boats on a map. So it's got like different ways. It looks like you're like trying to kill smog. There's a bunch of numbers on him, or you're trying to do stuff with boats. So this one looks kind of weird. I don't know how that one works at all, but
I think every roll and write I played.
I'm interested to try it.
Doc.
So would you call that a pro or a con? I think every roll and write I played, there's basically one game in there. And
I think it's a massive pro.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because
I'm
it makes the replayability on it huge. You can be like, let's play this mission this time.
But what if you just keep playing the same one over and over because you play with lots of different people?
I mean, that's why I said that was a con. But I think like you can just be like, hey, we're gonna do this one this time. Like, and maybe not everyone's brain works the same. Like my brain is like, I'm gonna do this in order. And maybe not everyone's brain is like that, and I just think it is. And so I'm like, okay, we'll start with 1.
I'm kind of with Rob.
Don't care.
I'm kind of with Rob on this one, where I also would lean towards trying to do them in order. If somebody asked me to play it, I would want to start at the beginning. I also think it's a con that every mission, or not a con, I mean a pro that every mission is different. I mentioned earlier that that aspect of it reminded me of Welcome to the Moon. That's something I really liked about Welcome to the Moon, is that like, I don't think I would like Welcome to the Moon if we just played mission 2 over and over again. But every mission in Welcome to the Moon is very different, and it makes the replayability of the game itself much higher because there's enough difference between them that you can get lots of new experiences playing it over and over again. Whereas a lot of these types of games where it's one sheet, you're not going to get that, right? You're doing the same thing, or you're just trying to tweak your strategy on the same thing every time you play it, and you end up with a lot of really similar feeling plays. I don't think you're going to get that with this game.
I think it's neat how the same resources and core mechanic of the dice drafting can feel so different in each game. And I would assume for like a gamer, you could jump into any mission. I don't know if with my family, I could jump into any of them. I'd probably have to do some of them to kind of build up their kind of knowledge of how the game works.
So Rob, can you spoiler alert me to Hobbit, right? Lore. I
Sure.
thought they fought Smaug in a cave, right?
So they find Smaug in his lair in the mountain with his treasure hoard,
Right.
but they wake him up and he gets mad and attacks a city, and they fight him while defending the city.
Yeah,
Is it like
and
on
then
a dock?
The city
the
is
humans the humans actually kill Smaug. Spoiler alert.
All right. Cool.
Bard the archer shoots that giant arrow into the one spot in his chest that the previous Bard the archer, like his father or whatever, missed
Gotcha.
in the years past, and like or didn't miss, but like hit the plate and knocked it off. So like hit his one weak spot.
Yeah,
Basically.
removes like one scale from his chest that makes him vulnerable.
All I remember from The Hobbit is that trippy 70s cartoon where, like, it looked like they were on acid and they were singing and dancing with the small dragon in the back, right? There's a bunch of gold behind them. Yeah, dude. That's my Hobbit lore knowledge.
Last year we said we were going to get matching tattoos with Rob, but I didn't know you didn't know anything about The Hobbit, so...
Oh,
and I don't know. Can you still get one, Rob?
I'll get tattoos people get tattoos like of Japanese symbols that they don't even know, what it really means, right?
-1 boing for Dave Dugas for not knowing the Hobbit lore.
Yes, I don't know.
Yeah.
That is sus.
I deserve it.
All right, well, let's hit our final thoughts here on The Hobbit there and back again. 3 boing, we have a 3 boing rating scale, 3 being the best, 0 being the worst. At one time, you can have 1 4 boing game. I've had to clarify that verbiage. Half boings are allowed. 3 being the best, 0 being the worst. A 0 boing game of The Hobbit, I think, is Dave Dugas not knowing anything about The Hobbit.
Yeah.
Rob just eating bread in a cave and winning, maybe?
No, that is the 4 boing game.
That's a 4 boing.
I don't know.
It is on brand for The Hobbit.
And me. I mean, I'm always eating something. A 3 boing game is I actually get to play with the same people and play them in order.
Play the whole book.
Yeah, we just sit down and rock out the whole book right in a row, and that makes my brain feel better. Hey, Logan, why don't you give us your thoughts on There and Back Again, your final thoughts and your boing rating?
I think
and your boing...
Words are hard.
And your boing rating before you leave us.
Sure. So I think the best thing I can say as a testament to this game is I purchased it.
Perfect.
And my boing rating is probably a 2.5 boings for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thanks a lot, Logan.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, let's go ahead and start. Jeremy, why don't you hit us first? How many times have you played? You played the first 3?
I played the first 3,
okay.
I think in 2 sittings.
Okay.
I'm gonna give this a 3 boing.
Whoa.
It's a 3 for me because of the different people I can play it with. I love The Hobbit. I love the story, and the theme really connects. I think you can have a lot of fun as you go through and talk about what you're doing and make fun of what other people are doing. Or I like the dice drafting. It's not like a heavy Euro, so it's a 3 boing for what it is.
Yeah.
I tend towards a lot more Euro games or what I like. But this is a good one. I was going to pick it up here. I'm waiting. I'm going to buy it back at Dungeons Gate. Give them the business. I don't think it's hard to find, right? It seems.
No, I mean, unless it's sold out now or something,
Yeah.
but I think it's in distribution pretty much. It's new and it's the Lord of the Rings, so they made a lot of them, I'm sure.
It's also a Reiner Knizia, which recognizable name. Stores are going to buy a bunch of copies of it.
I think I can play it with my family. I think that's a boing.
Perfect.
A boing jump.
Dave?
Oh, dude, I think I'm on board with Jeremy with this one. I'll give it 3 as well. I was thinking, I busted out. I went in the library and I found 7 Wonders dice, and I started playing with it. And like, I'm looking, I'm like, man, this is non-interactive. You're facing down, marking sheets off a board. I enjoy the interaction that this game provides. I think that's really
at least
just
a boing.
Boings this game up, dude. I'm all on board with this game. 3 for me.
Yeah, for me, I really enjoy this game. I bought my own copy of it after playing it once, and I'm not upset about owning it. I don't think I can give it a 3. It's just a little too far outside of what I'm normally into, and I don't know how many times I will play this game, but I've enjoyed the plays I've had. I think I'd come in at about a 2 for this one.
Okay. Man, I feel peer pressure to give this a 3 now as being the Hobbit stan here, but I think I'll do it. I'll go with 2.5 just because I'm not a big roll and write guy, but as far as roll and writes go, this is top tier for me. So maybe that means it is a 3 boing.
Wow.
All right, never mind, 3.
Right.
Yes.
And just the fact that I've sold a bunch of copies of this game already just from people playing it with me. I mean, 3 of the people that have been on this podcast have bought it. Dave, peer pressure.
Well, yeah, I was looking for it. I might have to. I'll probably grab a copy of it.
It's all right. You'll probably buy it.
Yeah, it's all right. I'll probably buy it. I don't know.
So it seems just like to resonate. I haven't had anybody play it and be like, that sucked.
Yeah.
So
it's a good time, dude.
It's not expensive too. So
that's true.
I think for the fun you can have with it, that helps me up it. I don't think it's a game that's going to be in my collection for a long time. I'm going to play it 50 times, but I mean, I don't do that with a lot of games.
I do that with no games. So,
I beg to differ. The Resistance Avalon.
oh yeah, I mean, I have
How
a lot of
old
plays
is
with it.
that game?
Old. All right, well, let's hit our look back, the bumper dump. This episode's bumper dump is Mesos. We played that last year. You two were both on that
Yes.
episode, right?
Yes.
So we're just missing BJ. We gave it 2s around the board. I played it since then. Mesos is on BGA, actually. So if you haven't tried it on BGA. I think it still sits around a 2 for me. I really like the card play in it. If I was to compare Mesos against Echoes of Time, I think I like Mesos better than that one, even though they're probably both about a 2. They're different, and the reason why I'm comparing them is the same publisher put out the same card game at the same time frame a year apart, based on that. So
Yeah, it looked different.
What was the rating a year ago?
the rating of the year ago was 7.2. It was 6,143. It definitely bumped.
Yeah, it's got to be.
It is now only a 7, but it's up to 3,005.
Okay.
It's in the
climbed
top
up.
1,000, like in the family category, I believe. Yes. So the in the family category, it's jumping up there.
Did I write any comments on the forum? I don't remember.
I'm gonna do that next. I haven't got there.
I think it's still probably a 2 for me. It's a fun game, but I'm not like clangering to get it back to
Right.
the table. You know, like it's
I'd
kind
give
of
it a
it
go
was a
with
game.
BGA
It was
again.
fun. I had some fun times with it, but it's fun to try the new ones. Like I like the new one, the one Echoes of Time. I liked that better. I think, and I don't know if that's just because it's the new one with the pretty art, or if the gameplay was better. But that's the one that I would play right now.
Have you played it on BGA, Ben?
Yeah, I played it once on BGA. I don't generally tend to have positive opinions of games where the first time I play them is on BGA until I've played them on a table. I think the visual and tactile element of playing games is pretty important
That's
for
the BGA
me.
taint.
And this one definitely, my first play did not go well, and I just didn't have a great time with it, but I don't want to knock the game just because my BGA experience was bad.
I think you would like it in real life because you
Right.
like kind of card combo-y
play,
tableau
right.
builder thingies.
I do, yeah.
So
I need to play it again.
I think it's up your alley. I own it, so we can make that happen. All right, BJ from Board Game Gumbo. All
Yeah, I
right,
know that guy.
RIP is back. He says Mesos was easily the best designed by Jan of Kahana that I played at BGGCon 2024. 2 boings.
That is a BJ statement.
Chris Boat says, love the art and brutal tight drafting mechanic. Really felt like an uphill battle for points in all the best ways. I need to play more, at least 2 boings for now. I would say that is the game where you don't expect that the feeding mechanism is so harsh,
Oh, yeah,
and it is the harshest.
You better be bagging that ham.
I just remember the first game, Rob, you had like negative 800 points, and I was just laughing the whole time.
I think we played it together for the first time,
Yes,
just 2
yeah.
players. Yeah, I was like, I feed my people. Jeremy Thoman says, I had a lot of fun with this smaller game. It was hilarious to watch Rob keep taking negative points in one game. Playing with the bros at BGGCon was even
Hey,
more
do you know
fun.
Jeremy Thoman?
I haven't played it since, but I'd still say 2.5 boings.
Oh, man.
So it dropped for you. If you're-
Maybe
since you
Echoes
made
of
that
Ti-
post.
Yeah.
So you like Echoes of Time better than is what you're saying.
I liked it better, but I don't know if that's just because it's new and I really like the art. It was fun to look at the characters, and I think it was maybe the early morning high on a Celsius taint of Echoes of Time.
Sure. All right. Well, thanks for listening to another episode of the Board Boys Podcast, Season 17, Episode 10, live from BGGCon. The Hobbit there and back again. Thanks to all our guests, Dave, Jeremy, and Ben. Really appreciate you guys having you guys on. Everybody can go to theboardboyspodcast.com and check out all the links to all of our stuff. You can hit our Discord from there. You can hit our Patreon if you'd like to support the podcast. We highly appreciate any 5-star reviews you give us on iTunes or Spotify.
We all got our merch on. I had a couple people ask me about it walking around the con.
Yeah, if you like any Board Boys merch and you're in the Des Moines area, or if you see me at a convention or you message me, I'll ship it to you, whatever. We got cool shirts and hats.
Board Boys World.
There's been so many hats around this convention right
Logan
now.
said your hats
Right.
are better than Gumbo hats.
Dude,
He did say that.
He
that
did.
is that is like, you know.
He said the
it's not
gumbo
very
hat-
hard
Well, he said,
to
he
be
said the
honest.
Gumbo hats were a little small for his big head,
Like-
so
I also have a big head, so that is probably a true statement. All right, I would like to thank our patrons now. BJ from Board Game Gumbo. Please don't pull your funding. Timothy Crisco, Shifty Teeth, Jordan Smith, Andre Bosch, Braden Dowdy, Rob Cooper, Richard Lane, Matt Kelly, Portland Gamecraft, Terry Ward, and Jeremy Thoman. Thanks a lot,
Yep.
Jeremy. Until next time, we hope you like board games.
Boing, boing, boing.